Welcome back. If a child has experienced something stressful, such as domestic violence, it can be tempting to avoid talking about it, thinking the subject is too painful. But Courtney Clark says that's not helpful. She's with the Behavior Clinic at Penfield Children's Center. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I think it's natural for us to, not intentionally, but maybe avoid bringing up a painful subject, thinking we don't want the child to feel like it's their fault. But it's important to let kids know that they can talk about something, especially if they need to share their feelings.
Yeah, it's important to not force a child to talk about something. So if they're avoiding a topic, not forcing it on them. But if a child brings something up to you as an adult, trying to keep a few things in mind, keeping calm. Sometimes when kids bring up stressful events, it causes us as the adult to feel distressed and anxious on their behalf. But that can sometimes send a message that the child did something wrong by confiding in us. And so we want to try to remain calm whenever possible. It can also be helpful to have a go-to phrase that we use to make the child feels heard without distressing them. So saying something simple like, "Thank you for telling me that," so that they know you've heard what they said and that it's a safe place to open up and speak about something. If possible, avoiding investigating ourselves. Sometimes we have good intentions and want to learn as many details as we can to understand what a child has been through. However, if something dangerous is happening in that child's life and we ask too many questions without a trained professional doing that investigation, we might actually undermine something that may have to happen in order to keep the child safe. So keeping in mind to call in the professionals to do any actual investigating into a situation. If a child is being harmed, that would be a child protective services call, otherwise a call to the police to ask them what to do next in that situation. It can be also helpful to keep in mind avoiding villainizing individuals in the child's life. So if somebody is perpetrating something dangerous in the child's life, that could be someone that they're close to. And so going more towards labeling a behavior as unsafe versus calling somebody that this child may love or care for a bad person, that could keep the child from trusting us again in the future if we're too negative about someone that that child cares about.
So instead, you suggest talking about the action that maybe that person was acting in a way that isn't safe or healthy.
Yeah.
What other tips do you have in terms of kind of helping the child understand? Because, it can, I'm sure, be very confusing, especially if it's someone in their life that they think is supposed to love them or keep them safe.
So making sure that the child feels heard, validating the feelings that they're having, and also validating that it's okay that they still care about that person. Making sure that they understand who in their life is there to keep them safe and why different steps have to happen to make sure that the child is safe, even if it means they can't see that person anymore. If something unsafe is going on and we're working with kids on how to stay safe themselves, we use safety plans a lot in which we try to come up with ideas for how the child can take a little bit of control of their own safety in the moment. And for those, we kind of practice them like a fire drill, the same concept as schools use for fire drills, which is when something stressful is happening, our fight or flight tends to kick in. And so when we practice these things with kids over and over, it forms a habit. And so when something dangerous is happening, they're more likely to be able to follow the steps if we've already practiced it.
I'm sure whether it's domestic violence or some other type of risky situation, it's important to understand what's within the child's control. For example, being able to walk independently to a neighbor's house.
Yes, so we always want to factor in age, and a lot of times how much a child can speak can factor into that as well. So can they walk to a neighbor's house, as you mentioned? Can they find a safe place in the home? Do they have the capabilities to dial a phone for help? Who are the safe adults? We can help them learn who are the safe adults that they should talk to if something has happened. So anything like that that we factor in their age and also their abilities being realistic of what they can do. Young kids can maybe handle, 1 to 2 steps of a plan on their own without any help. If they have older kids or adults helping them, they can do some more complex types of safety planning. But the younger the child, the less they may be able to remember in the moment. So keeping it very simple for them. We also have on our Coles Building Blocks website more tips for keeping families safe and healthy. So that would be penfieldchildren.org.
Great information. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you.
So again, to learn about keeping families safe and healthy, you can visit that website that she just mentioned. It's the Coles Building Blocks website, penfieldbuildingblocks.org.